Hey guys, it's Luke coming at you here on a Sunday morning. Should probably be doing something else. However, I noticed a forum post that I just couldn't help myself but respond to because I think it is going to help the community by allowing me to point out a couple of things. So the post I spotted initially was by Cadillac 48 here, and Cadillac says he knows that some people have two IPs and some just have one. He knows this. And anyone know why this is? And are people with just one IP being cheated because some people have two? Being cheated. So this is probably not Cadillac's fault. Cadillac, probably not your fault. The fault probably lies in a lot of the gurus and the junk products that they put out, and these guys don't really make money aside from teaching people how to make money, and those types of people. What I would call, not all, but some of the Warrior Forum types. There is some good stuff there, but not, there is some really bad stuff there. Same thing with like ClickBank, right? So it's probably not your fault that you've been conditioned to immediately jump to conclusions that you've been cheated, or, nothing's going to work, or those types of things. However, this is a good opportunity to point out how to handle this situation properly. So here's what I would have done and what I would suggest doing in the future when a question like this arises, like, oh, I don't see my second IP, where is it, right? So the first thing I would do is come to the forum and see if there's an answer to this, or if someone else is having this issue that I can either, hit up with a PM, chat, or if there is an answer already in the forum threads, great, then I have my answer, right? So let's assume that Cadillac 48 would have done this, right? So Cadillac, let's assume we would do this. So what I did was just a few forum posts difference between yours and this one. And this was done on the 16th, and yours was actually yesterday. So, this was before you had made your post. So this was here while you were typing that post that you said. So somebody had a question about the second IPs. We explained that they have been assigned. And then someone out here, which is very helpful, thank you, posts a screenshot of exactly where to go on your drop down to find that second IP. Okay, so the answer is right there. Cool, right? You would have had an answer. So if it's me, again, I search, I find this, I know where I find my second IP, I go into my software and I'm good, right? Well, actually, probably the first step that would have happened is I probably would have seen the drop-down menu and would have tested it to see what happens there. Assuming I didn't, then I would have come here and I would have seen this and then, gone to the drop-down menu. So what you did is decide to come to the forum and kind of do this jumping to conclusions that you're being cheated. So anyway, you make the post, which is fine. That's what the forum is for. The forum isn't for people to hang out and socialize and, whatever. Typically, people that are on the forum are having problems, or they're helping people, which is cool. So let's scroll on down. And so everyone else does have two. So this guy says, check the drop-down box. I did. He found his. Mike K here. Awesome, Mike. Thanks for jumping in. This is a really good point. Those IPs that we give you guys are an extra bonus free gift. It wasn't mentioned anywhere in the sales process, nor will it ever be. The reason we did it is we decided we wanted to give you guys the easiest way possible to get some initial mails out, just as some practice, right? And to learn sort of the IP warming process and things like that. The long-term strategy, of course, the overall strategy is to use the relays heavily because of their other features that they have. So we spent a lot of money on setting up servers and getting everybody IPs, and the reason there's a drop-down menu with two different servers is because we wanted to make sure that you guys had really diversified, unique IPs that weren't right next to each other in sequence. Just gives you a better chance of inboxing and gives you more options and stuff like that. So everything we've done here has been, completely free, not mentioned extra bonus things we've added on top of the strategy that Mark teaches, just to help you guys. So they're a free bonus. So that's quite a departure from coming here and saying we're cheating somebody. So then you respond and say you don't have a drop-down box, and you definitely only have one ISP, meaning IPs, I think. And then you go on to say, Mark, will you please give me the second one? I'm entitled to. Entitled. So it reminds me of like Cookie Monster, like, me want cookie. So, you had the IPs all along. The answer was on the forum, actually in other threads too. That's not the only thread that points out where to get the drop down. And it's you just that whole jump into the conclusion say, and again, I don't think it's your fault. I think you've just been conditioned to be screwed over. Because I've seen that happen. I'm not really a product buyer myself, but I see what goes on there. So then again, someone points out with yet another screenshot and says, no, your drop down is here. And then, of course, you come back and say that you found the IP. So I'll address the other question in the forum post. I won't waste video time on this for everybody else. But anyway, so that's a really good example of how not to handle it when you have a question, and how not to come to the community with that type of negativity. Here's the reason we don't, this is why I hand out Crybaby Awards. It's not to be a jerk. It's not to push people around or whatever. It's to ensure that everyone has the very best chance of success. And one of the ways to not ensure that is to allow misguided assumptions and conclusions and negativity to leak toward the forum. And here's why. The negativity gives the people who aren't doing anything something to latch on and an excuse. And that starts to snowball. And this is true for team sports. It's true for business teams. It's true for any type of community that's based around a specific subject. And we just will not allow it. And we won't have it. And the reason is we want to make sure that everybody has the best chance of success. And we don't want that to basically taint the entire community. So that's why we have the Crybaby Award. That's why I'm doing this post, is to ensure that, guys see that the proper way to handle a situation, because we want everybody to have a good shot, right? That's the whole point. And I think a regular guru or whatever wouldn't even take the time to do something like this, wouldn't even care as far as that goes. And hopefully you're seeing that we're completely different with regard to that. So anyway, was what I spotted and the problem. Now, what I then did was I was like, man, why such hostile attitude? What's the problem here? What has happened? What's wrong here? So I looked at the other forum posts that Cadillac 48 has done up to this point. And not surprisingly, there's a pattern here. So let's look at the next thing. So this was the IPs. Well, let's talk about this last, actually. All right, so let's look at this one. The next post I saw was, where is the suppression list tab? You said you're not seeing the suppression list button. Does anybody know where it is? Right, and you'll see that nobody has responded here. Probably the reason nobody has responded is because this has been addressed on the forum again multiple times. But let's just see again how I would have handled the situation. Assuming I couldn't figure it out on my own in the software, then I would have come to the forum to check. So first thing I would have done is click on the troubleshooting and FAQ section. And if you look, the very first post here, the sticky button not visible in MM software. Okay, all right, that's me, right? My suppression button is not there. Menu messed up or not appearing. Here's the fix, right? So if you click on that thread, here's what you would have found. So I explain a few different ways to handle it if you're not seeing your button, which is likely going to fix it, of course. And actually, if you scroll down just a few more posts, you'll actually see a post here with a video that shows specifically how to fix the suppression list button not showing up, which is simply by hovering over where that box is and dragging the size of that that box to be bigger or smaller, right? It's like an Excel file. You hover over like the border area, you'll see your mouse turn into the arrows where you can start to adjust the size, right? So, I mean, there's actually somebody, which is fantastic. You need a Hamburger Helper Award, Media Dealer. I don't know why you don't have one. We will get you one. Did a video of the actual solution. And right there, the very first thread post in the FAQ section. So again, that's what I would have done there to fix that. So now you'll have a solution there. You can watch the video. Of course, you probably understand now that I've explained it. Either your browser is probably zoomed in, or you need to just hover over and adjust the size, because everybody's screen resolutions are different. So those boxes are dynamic. You can adjust them. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Having a problem with Hygiene Agent, and if you look here, actually end up calling Hygiene Agent a joke, which is, again, back to that immediate negative attitude, assumption jumping, conclusion jumping, that we're trying to stay away from. And so, yet another example. So if you scroll down, one of the reps here explains the problem, and, it's and basically you then retract what you said, and the problem had been resolved. So again, sort of a quick conclusion jumping, assumption jumping, again with negativity. So again, guys, this is not how we want the community to go. This is not going to help anyone. Trying to get a resolution the way you're doing it, and then on top of that, the pattern of negativity makes it very difficult to not taint other people who haven't tried anything and are looking, just kind of looking for an excuse so they don't have to blame themselves for not getting emails sent out, right? So really, really, really important, guys, that we understand how to help ourselves in the forum, and then of course with support, and then understand that we're, hopefully by this point you realize we are not here to cheat you. We are here to make sure that you guys are successful. I mean, that's the whole point. We want you guys to do well. And I think a lot of guys, especially the guys that have been around for a while, really realize that and can spot, wow, these guys are going above and beyond the Call of Duty here to make sure that we make solid money. And that even goes with our sales webinars and really underhyping things and saying, look, this is a real business. This is something that you actually have to send emails out. You can't just wake up and money appears in your account. It takes time. That's why we ask for a 60-day commitment from you at least. And that's why we have our awesome guarantee, right? Which is, we're going to make sure that you are making it, your money back that quickly, because you should be easily. And actually spoke to a couple of guys that are killing it that I try to convince to post in the earnings section, so and to help some of you guys on the forum, because most of the most successful guys don't really come to the forum, because really the forum is mostly for people asking questions that need help, and then of course there are guys on here providing help as well, which is awesome, but a lot of the guys that are just blowing right through and kind of kicking butt don't really frequent. So anyway, the next thing then is I found yet another issue, which was, they're talking about domain names, and Mark comes in to help somebody here, and then you chime in with, completely off the subject thing with, let me ask you this, Mark. One would think with all the money you make, you'd be able to afford a high-quality microphone when recording the videos. And basically you go on to state that you can't understand them because of the audio. So coming from a guy who knows quite a bit about audio engineering, being signed to a major label band and things like that, I personally don't, on none of my devices do I have any problem understanding what Mark is saying. Now, he's definitely not going to win a Grammy. They're probably not going to call him to, set up the microphone for Michael Bublé's next album, and I'm sure he would readily admit that. They're not calling me either. But with that being said, we're not here to entertain, and we've never had anyone actually say that they couldn't understand what Mark was saying. What that tells me is you probably have a problem with your audio hardware. It's highly unlikely that it's a problem with actually understanding the audio. So again, I think this might be a little over dramatic, maybe jumping to some conclusions. So then you ask, does anybody else agree? And, G-Berm steps in, which is awesome. Don't sweat the small stuff. Who cares? And then you say, you care. The quality is very poor. And then somebody else posts here, which is great. You ask if anyone agreed. It sounds like no. Honestly, I don't think it's that bad. And I'm in agreement. I understand it just fine. Again, audio quality could be better, just like I said, but I don't have a problem with it. Maybe you need better audio hardware. So again, I think you're seeing kind of the response there. So perfect example, guys, of how to sort of handle your questions, how not to handle it. I couldn't help but take the opportunity and the chance to point these things out. And this is not to call someone out or to whatever, right? To make a point is all this was for, in terms of making sure that people understand how to get the help they need. And I wanted to make sure that people got and understood why we don't tolerate assumption jumping, conclusion jumping, and negativity in the community. It's because we can't afford to or allow it to happen for the betterment and the success of everyone else in the community. So I just wanted to make that point. And again, I'm sure it's not Cadillac's fault. He's probably been inundated with complete junk in terms of how to make money type products, and not all, but some of the Warrior Forum type stuff, some of the ClickBank type stuff. There are some awesome products and stuff in those two places, but man, there's a lot of crap too. And I think people just get used to that and kind of conditioned to immediately jump to the oh, this doesn't work and I'm getting screwed conclusion. Because most of the things that are put out there by guys who don't know what they're doing, and they don't make money any other way than teaching people how to make money. And it's kind of embarrassing, really, and kind of sad, because I think this is the type of attitude that spawns. And it's not the fault of the community or the buyers. It's the fault of the sellers. And that is really, really embarrassing and sad. But anyway, hopefully this helps. And Cadillac, I hope you got your answers. Again, I think you're kind of coming around at this point, I hope, to realize we're here to help you. We're not trying to cheat you. We're not trying to screw you. We're just trying to make sure that everybody, kicks butt the best they can. And good luck, guys. That's all I have for today. I'm out.